Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. So for most of us on this channel, I would say it has been a long haul. It's been tough, it's been rough, it's been probably, how to explain it, it's been very dark for a very long time, but I really do believe, and I said this in the last couple of videos, we're coming into the light. Things are getting brighter, things are getting better, things are adjusting. You are adjusting. Now, if you're not quite there yet, you will get there eventually, okay? So I am here to tell you there is light at the end of the tunnel. The one thing that nobody has ever said was get out of the tunnel. Go through the tunnel and step out into the light. One day that just hit me like a ton of bricks when someone says, oh, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Well, what does that do? That makes your mind image or visualize that you're inside this dark tunnel and somewhere miles and miles down there, there's light. I am telling you, walk out of the tunnel and it does get better. Step out into the light. Okay, so I'm on my way home and give you a little view of where I live, the neighborhood I live in. But I wanted to say something. This is what this video is going to be about. Don't know if it's going to be a long video or a short video. But did you ever think, okay, how to explain this, that life is kind of like Donkey Kong? It's like there's levels to this, okay? And each time you go through a level, it's very painful. There's a lot of fears, a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of confusion, and there can, I would say at the end, be a lot of sadness. It can make you very sad. So it's a process. It's almost like it's a step-by-step process that we go through. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Sorry. So I'm going to get to the video and we'll talk more about the process, okay? It's not just a one-step thing. It's a series of steps. And it's not like there's just one that you go through. It's, you go through levels. All right. So what I mean by that is it's not like there's just one thing that happens and it's horrible or it's hard to get through. And once you're through it, you're all done. That's not quite the way it works. That being said, there is, how to explain this, there is almost like a level of, okay, I got past it, now I can move on. And what ends up happening is you begin to take on challenges versus challenges being put on you. Do you see the difference? So now you go after your dreams, now you go after your fun, now you go after your goals, and you start achieving things, and your effort and energy is put into that instead of dealing with all this narcissistic bullshit. It becomes lighter, it becomes brighter. Like literally, it's exactly like stepping out of a real life tunnel. It's like now you can see where you're going, okay? So whereas before you were in the dark and you didn't know where you're going, you didn't know what was going on, you didn't know why life was so hard and why you hurt so bad inside. Like a lot of you didn't even know why you had anxiety. You didn't even know why you were terrified of people. You didn't even know why you had all this shame. Like you didn't know why. And all of a sudden you woke up to narcissist abuse. I remember at one point I had so much anxiety, it was insane. And I remember the person that I went to this NLP trainer with, is someone I actually trained with, said, God, maybe he could help me because I didn't know who to go to because nothing worked. Now here's the diabolical side of this. So let me clarify, the person I went with was one of my ex-girlfriends, okay? And she took me to this NLP trainer that I trained with years ago. Well, actually, probably about 3 or 4 years before that. And the thing was like, nothing worked and I couldn't get out of this fear. And I was like, and at this point, man, I had put my time and effort into all kinds of things. Well, I didn't know what narcissist abuse was at the time, so I didn't know there were red flags and signals and signs and strategies. I didn't understand any of this, therefore I couldn't see it. Now, the person I went to, his name is Dan. I cannot remember his last name. He's in the San Jose area. Great guy. Now, one of the things you do is if you can't get a customer or client to, shift, change, or whatever, sometimes you just ask them, say, well, what is it that will make this go away or change? And I remember looking like, I have no idea. See, if someone is hitting you, let's say someone's physically hitting you with a hammer or punching you or whatever, all the hypnosis in the world isn't going to change that unless that hypnosis gets you to see who's hitting you, where it's coming from, and how and when and where, etc. So until you see what's going on, until you know what's going on, you're pretty much going to be stuck in a predicament with someone or a group of people who are purposely damaging you. Now, when I woke up to narcissist abuse, and I mean woke up, it's like I had all these memories. Now, again, this is part of that, what I call the Great Wall of China, the isolation phase where you're home alone. Like you go to work, you go home, that's it. You buy groceries, and you don't do nothing. You don't go to the coffee shop no more. You don't hang out at the grocery shop talking to people. You just get in, get out, go home, boom, that's it. And you have this wall around you. Well, during that phase is when you have these major realizations that other people will never have. So going back to the Donkey Kong level, you are at a higher level, which means you are more capable, at least, than you were before. So if you woke up to narcissist abuse, you stuck your head out of the tunnel. You may have even stepped out of the tunnel, and all of a sudden you could clearly see what was going on. It might have scared you, and you went back into your own little tunnel called the Great Wall of China, and you started re-evaluating things. Other people around you, they haven't even come close to the end of the tunnel, let alone stepping out and looking around with the lights on. And because of that, they keep getting beat down. They keep getting held back because they don't know what's going on. Now, here's the thing. Your unconscious mind knows what's going on. It sees it. It's aware of it. It's why you're afraid. It's why you had anxiety back then. It's why I had anxiety. But a part of you is like, I don't want to see this. This is too scary. Reality scares the shit out of me. And in truth, I remember it was during an NLP training. It's in one of Dr. Bandler's books. He says reality is far more crazier than it wasn't crazier, but far more insane than any movie you could ever make. In other words, reality is just bonkers compared to movies. But one of the things they kept telling us during this training is being aware allows you to see it coming. Therefore, you can do something about it. You can step out of the way. You can walk away. You can defend yourself. You can speak up. You can realize, oh, this is where the pain's coming from. Bye. And a big part of learning about narcissist abuse is walking away. So here I was going to this NLP therapist guy, and I took the very person who was a complete, total 100% narcissist. This was the person that used to whisper in my ear. Now, at the time, I didn't catch it yet. Is when I would go to sleep, she would whisper in my ear over and over and over is, nobody likes you. Everyone hates you. And she just would do it over and over. And now how I know is because I caught her one time. I had woke up in the middle of it. Now, I have this thing where at a very young age, I kind of trained myself to wake up and not open my eyes and kind of tune into my environment first to see what's going on. And I was like, wait, what is she saying? And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. This went on for about another 10, maybe even 15 minutes. Now, I didn't say nothing because I knew her well enough to know that she'll just deny it. Or she'll say, oh, that was the only time I did it. So I thought, well, I'm gonna see how long this goes on. Like, is this like a one night thing, or is this something she's been doing for a long time? Well, I let a good 7, maybe 10 days. I don't know how long I went by, but I was listening to this, acting like I was asleep. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, the same word and phrases exactly verbatim every single time, over and over and over for 10 plus minutes. And she did all the other narcissistic stuff, such as, like one day it was my birthday, and I had told her like 2 weeks before, like, hey, what do you want to do for my birthday? It's coming up, and I told her the date, the day, blah blah blah. Oh, I don't know. Let's talk about it later. And then I brought it up again. Then the week before, I brought it up like every day for 5 days, and she's like, oh, we'll just spur of the moment. Oh, okay. And then what ended up happening? She took me to someone else's birthday. And she picks me up. Come on, let's go. We got to get the cake. And I'm thinking, oh, it's a surprise birthday for me. Oh, it was not a surprise. The surprise was, yeah, I didn't even know it was your birthday, even though you told me every day for the last 2 weeks. In other words, it was just another narcissistic tactic to make you feel like you're nothing. So all the signs were there. Everything was there. But the thing is, now, once I heard that thing when I was sleeping, that was like the beginning of the very end. I was like, oh, yeah, I can't be with this. So that was the very end. In fact, I ended up moving away a few months after that. Like, we just broke up completely. But the point being is all the other signs were there. But I didn't know. I didn't, I always try to, like, let's work it out. Let's talk. Like, why do you do this? And why do even that nighttime thing. Why are you saying this? And oh, I just did it the one time, and then I said bullshit. But it's not about that. What I'm trying to say is, I was taking the very person to therapy with me, who was doing the very thing that was causing all this fear. I didn't want to see that the very person that I was in love with was the very person that was doing all this stuff. Now you might have thought, oh, so you woke up to it then? No. I didn't wake up till a year. Now with her, I was like, yeah, we're done. But there came a point about 6 years ago when I woke up to it, and I started seeing all of them around me, and that is what really freaked me out. So I went into isolation for quite a while, and I was reevaluating everything. Because it's like the filters got ripped off. Like when someone does you wrong and you make up an excuse like, oh, well, they didn't mean it, or they're having a bad day, or someone at work must have done something to them. So, they didn't really mean it. They just took it out on me because they were in this really bad mood. Like we used to make up excuses for everyone. That came to a full stop. You do me wrong, you're done. You're gone. Bye. And I cut out a lot of people in my life. I was like, a few of them literally just said, well, yeah, I am a narcissist. Like, they admitted it. Two of them even said that they had gotten tested by psychologists. And it was like, really? And like, yeah, I told you. Like, no, you didn't. And I was gone. I was like, that's it. I'm done. I was like, did not give a shit. I was like, because my whole life had been like this. Like, no, they're not going to change. They don't change. It's almost like, well, here's my excuse, and this is why I treat you this way. Now that you know, it's okay, right? No, it's not okay. Not anymore. Bye. And that was one of the realizations you had was you woke up to, wait a minute, all these years, I thought if we talked and I said, hey, I don't like it when you treat me that way. I don't like, that hurt me. Why did you do that? You thought they were going to change. You thought they were going to go, oh, really? Oh, hurting you hurt you? I didn't realize. And you start to realize some of the things they've said to you for years, they knew they were hurting you. For example, I made a video a while back that was a hit. This is about 3 years ago. And it was like, when they tell you, oh, you're just being too sensitive, they literally just told you that they know, they're consciously aware, they're highly aware that you get hurt when they do this, that you're sensitive and this hurts you. They didn't even hide it. They literally told it to your face, like, oh, you're being too sensitive. In other words, they know they're hurting you. They're also telling you, I'm not going to stop, you have to change. So backstabbing you, talking behind your back, being rude, gaslighting you, all the stuff that you call them on, they're not saying, oh, you want me to stop that? Oh, okay. No. They're saying, I'm going to continue. You're just too sensitive. And I know you're sensitive, meaning I know that I'm hurting you. They're not even hiding it. They're telling it to your face. And that's one of the biggest realizations you've had is you're like, wait a minute. Because you go back in all these memories during the isolation phase, what I call the Great Wall of China.
You go all the way back. Like during that phase of isolation, you have all these memories pop up and you remember what they said to your face, and you're thinking, wait, they know what they're doing. And the realization that you finally have is like, they aren't doing this on accident at all. They're not having a bad day. They're not taking their hurt out on you or their anger. No, they do this because they enjoy hurting you. When you start having these realizations, you start going, wait, what? And then, since you're not fully and completely out of the tunnel, awake, you will go back to them and say, hey, we need to talk about this. And they're grinning from ear to ear, not only inside, but outside as well. They're grinning at you. That's why they smile at you all the time, because they're like, oh, okay, here we go. So you're going to dig in deeper, huh? Meaning they're going to hurt you more. So you say something like, hey, you're doing this on purpose. I know you're doing this on purpose. You need to stop. This isn't nice, Bo. And they're just looking at you like, wow, this person still doesn't get it. They're not going to change. And when you have that realization, then you're like, oh, they were doing it on purpose all along, and they intend to continue to do it all along. And that's when you finally change. You finally realize there's nothing I can say or do. It's going to make them stop being mean, hurting me, stab me in the back, etc. And that's when you finally change. You stop being naive. You stop being trusting. You stop assuming the best of everyone, and you start seeing people for who and what they are. You start hearing what they say for what it is. You stop filtering what they do and what they say to you through best wishes, through they didn't mean that, they have better intentions, when they didn't have better intentions at all. Their intention was to hurt you. So you begin to cut people out of your life. You begin to block them on your cell phone and your emails and your social media. And you even tell them, hey, don't ever contact me again. No more contact. I'm done. You might have even said, hey, if you do, I'm going to the police. And it felt like a very isolating, sad place. It felt like, so this means I essentially have to be alone for the rest of my life. And if I'm lucky, I might meet one or two other good people. But that is where you made another mistake in a good way. There are good people out there, and what happens is you might go through this loneliness for a while because you're still kind of you're adjusting and you're fine-tuning is what you're doing. Every now and then you still get caught up in narcissist arguments. Maybe it's a totally different person, someone you never met, but you catch it a lot faster. And faster and faster, and you catch it almost before the argument even starts, almost before the gaslighting even starts. You start catching it faster, and you start to feel really, really good about yourself. You start to see the narcissist weaknesses, you start to see their limitations, and you start to realize, hey, wait a minute, I'm not the one who's limited, they are. All of a sudden you call them on their shit. You start telling people who they are. One of the best things you can do is tell everyone around you what this person is, who they are. You start fighting back. You realize oh, I can call the manager. I can call the police. I can get a hold of the person who's the head of this business, this organization, let them know what's going on. And all of a sudden you start speaking up for yourself. A narcissist worst nightmare. You became the Lion of Judah. You just had your second coming of Christ. All of a sudden you can navigate all of this. All of a sudden you can navigate right through it. There are little bumps and maybe even bruises here and there, but it's nothing compared to what your life was like. All of a sudden, in comparison, life becomes a breeze. And then you start looking forward to setting goals, to going after your goals, realizing all I have to do is A, B, C, and D to deal with this stuff. And the other part is you start walking away. The minute someone starts doing narcissistic stuff, or the minute you get this really weird feeling, you say, I'm trusting that feeling, and you move on. You start watching people, you start paying attention, you start listening closer, you start to hear them for what they say, not what you want them to say, and things become clearer and clearer and clearer. It's literally like picking weeds from a garden. So once a week, twice a week, you go to the garden, take 5, 6, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, pick some weeds, and you're done. Whereas before, you never picked the weeds and the weeds overtook the entire garden and you felt stuck. Now here's the best part. You start seeing good people. I want to use the word diabolical, but it's not diabolical, but I'm going to use it anyways. But it's diabolical the minute you start seeing the narcissist red flags and seeing like, oh, this is they got bad energy. Oh, they said this about that person. Oh, I don't want to be around. So the minute you start seeing all of this stuff, all of a sudden, you start having the ability to see the good people as well. And that was the ability that you never had. Now you can feel energy. Like you can suddenly go, wow, this person's energy feels really good. Whereas this other person, that guy's got some creepy energy, man. You can tell the difference. It becomes clearer and clearer and clearer. Learn about narcissist abuse. Learn to see the strategies, the tactics. Learn to see the red flags. And I promise you, your life will be increasingly getting better and better and better. That's the way life works. And guess what? You have to let go of those people who refuse to leave the tunnel. It's like, well, that's their choice. And you know what? It is a really weird thing. Because when you open up and you can see all around you, now you're safe. But most people stay in that narrow tunnel focus where Jesus calls it the eye of the needle, or the Bible calls it the eye of the needle, when the pupils are really, really small, meaning you can only see what's in front of you. When the pupils dilate open and the pupils pull apart a little bit, which is what happens when you wake up, you can start seeing the bigger picture. Meaning when someone says something, you can go, oh, wait a minute, I can feel the energy, and that's actually their intention. The energy is the intention. You're like, well, they actually mean what they said. You know the whole phrase, when someone tells you who they are, believe them? I had a client a few months ago, sometime last year, I don't remember when, October, November, I don't remember when exactly. But they literally told me, like, oh yeah, I've got a couple demons inside me, and they did it. It was like a cackle, and it's like, and I literally said, oh, okay, well, I gotta go, and I hung up. That's how easy it is. Who would have known that walking away was one of the easiest, simplest, yet most powerful tools you have in your arsenal? Step into the light and find your freedom. And begin to enjoy life. Okay, if you're with me this far, I have another tool for you. It's very, very, very easy and simple. Your time and your energy are very, very, very valuable. So start cutting people off. Start noticing when people are just wasting your time. Start noticing when people are literally draining your energy, when you walk away feeling exhausted. Cut them off sooner, faster, or completely. I've been doing this to even people that I even like. It's like it's not going anywhere. It's not going to change my life. So there's a guy that works at a store. He's really cool, funny as hell. I've known him for 12 years. I give him a little bit of time, but I cut it off a lot faster. There's one other person who is kind of on hard times right now. So I give him some time, some little bit of energy. But I cut it off, whereas before I talked to him for like an hour or even longer. And I was like, man, this is time I could be using studying NLP or working on energy healing techniques or whatever. So I give him a little bit of time. I was like, hey, man, I got to go. And other people who've just been negative towards me, I cut them off completely. I have so much more energy now than I've ever had in my entire life. Read a good book. Learn a new technique, learn a new skill, develop it. Spend your time and energy towards something that's going to give you a return. And that includes people. See, here's the deal. When you're with people, that energy should be synergistic. Now, here's what happens when you have a positive times a positive. It actually builds up extra energy for both of you. In other words, there's an excessive energy that's built up. In other words, there's like leftover energy. So nobody gets drained, whereas everyone is added to. And that's how you should feel when you walk away from someone. You should feel like they have added to your life. They've added to your energy. You should walk away more energized than de-energized. Get rid of the distractions. Your cutoff game has to be epic. Friendships, associations, business associations, and relationships, including and especially marriage, should add the energy to both. It should be a synergistic connection where it builds and builds and builds extra energy. That goes into your business project, that goes into your life. Now, let me use marriage as an example, because this is a place where I began to apply this to, and I began to see something that I never saw before. Most people in marriages, especially if they have children, they feel drained. That is not normal. That is not healthy. And that is not the way it's actually supposed to work. It's a lot like a car's battery. Once the engine starts, it begins to build up more energy. And that's called the alternator that sends energy through the engine, okay? So it's not supposed to drain. It's supposed to add this free-flowing energy. So here's what happens. Side note. I have no idea where all this is coming from. It's literally just pouring out of me as I speak. Okay, let's get biblical. First of all, this video was literally inspired. I was riding my bike, as you saw in the clip there, and something just came to me. I knew I had to record that and come back and make this video. That's how my videos work. I just get inspired. Literally, I was riding my bicycle, I was thinking of nothing, and boom, it just popped into my head, and I was like, that's what I have to make a video about. So now, watch this. Okay, so let's go to Matthew 18, verse 19 through 20. Again, I say to you, that if two of you agree on earth concerning anything that they ask, it will be done unto them by my Father in heaven. For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, I am there in the midst of them. Now, also where it says in the Bible, he and she shall be one unto each other, that means your left brain, the male brain, the he and she shall be one unto each other. So the left brain is supposed to become one unto the right brain. In other words, they should be synergistically connected and open and flowing together. So this verse that Jesus is talking about also exists within you. Again, I say to you that if two of you agree on earth concerning anything that they ask, it shall be done unto them by my Father in heaven. For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, I am there in the midst of them. So what this is saying is, if you connect to yourself and become one unto yourself, you can have prayers answered as well. I've also been a part of different types of sports teams where when the group gels together and we are all supporting each other, we achieved our goals. We became section champions, we went into baseball championships, etc., etc. And I've also been on teams where there's people that just don't want to connect. They don't want to be a part of the group. They don't want to gel. They don't want to work together. They're selfish. They're all by themselves. And that ruins the synergy. So now let's bring this all back. I am telling you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, when 2 or more people come together as one, have a common goal, a common achievement in mind, there's something that happens. There is an energetic, synergistic shift that begins to build energy and create energy where everyone feels energized and not exhausted. If you are with a friend and you feel tired, if you are with a business associate and you just feel frustrated, you feel stuck, you feel tired, I'm telling you, that person is not in it with you. They're not working with you. It is not something that you're supposed to be a part of. I have been in relationships, I've been in situations, business, etc., where no matter how hard you work, no matter how positive you are, no matter what you do with this person and or these people, it's never gonna work because they're not in it with their heart and soul. I have learned to just walk away from those situations because you will connect with other people where the synergy happens because you both are in it to win it. That's the way it should be. I'm going to make it really simple. Whether you're dating, relationships, in a marriage, whether you're with a friend, buddy, business situation, it should feel good. There should be a creativity, there should be a joy, there should be this energy that builds and builds and builds, and there's excess energy for the project and the people around you. Now here's something I learned about marriages. Men and women don't speak the same language. They do not have the energy going in the same direction, but there is a way to, number one, teach men how to speak the internal language. And there's a way that men are supposed to use their energy to connect with a woman. And if they do this, it creates the energy to go from her forehead to her heart, down through her body, and then reconnecting with him, going up to his heart, and then coming back out through his forehead. This builds energy that's flowing in a direction, just like in a car that has an alternator. The energy begins to flow completely through the system. So I'm going to use the word in a circle or an oval, and it begins to flow. I actually have a chart of this in my manual. Let me see if I can find it right now on my computer. I'm not sure if it's in here. Okay, so I actually found it. Now here's the deal. Men want to connect first sexually. It's the way we're built, because that opens us up to our heart. But the way a woman opens up to her heart, she first has to connect mentally through mentally stimulating communication. And then over a period of time, it's like a lockbox in her forehead. Once it gets filled up with enough mentally stimulating communication, it pops open, and then she drops down to her heart. So a woman goes, number one, forehead connection, right? Mental stimulation. And then she opens up to her heart, which is the right brain language, the internal language. So the way a woman connects to her heart is first mental connection through mentally stimulating communication, and then you open up to your heart and communicate in the internal, meaningful and emotionally fulfilling language. And then she connects with him sexually, so they go mental 1, emotional 2, and then physically, sexually 3, which connects to his number 1, which then opens him up to his heart. Now both the male and female are emotionally fulfilled, and they feel connected on a heart level. And now he will reciprocate right brain communication, because once a male has an orgasm, the chemical oxytocin for men acts as a relaxant, which opens him up to his right brain. And what this causes is it causes synergy. So if he connects first with her mentally, right, through stimulating conversations, she'll open up emotionally. Then he needs to drop down to his heart. Then she can go down and get emotional fulfillment, and then connect sexually, and then the circle, look at the arrow going underneath and then back up to him, and then it goes through him, up through his head, and then back over to her. This is what causes the energy to flow between a man and a woman, because both of them are now completely open. Now the system, the doors are open, the system is flowing energy. Now look at the male symbol. On accident one day I put the male on the left side, which is the male brain, and I put the symbol, and I went, wait a minute, there's an arrow pointing over to the right towards her. And I noticed that her symbol, there's a line that goes down. Well, the original symbol years ago was like Prince's symbol with an arrow at the bottom going down. It was the female symbol on the upper right, okay? That's supposed to be pink. I don't know why that's green. So at the bottom is an arrow, which represents the internal energy, which goes from forehead to heart down to her body, into her groin. Now the male way, if you connect first, see, what women have a hard time understanding, he actually opens up to his heart through his groin, through sex, okay? That chemical that's released after an orgasm opens him up emotionally, but the problem is now she's not getting mental stimulation or emotional fulfillment, and now this is an empty physical connection. And women will tell you sex alone is meaningless. Meaning it's empty sex, it's just physical, there's no emotional connection, there's no meaningfulness. And if the male connects the male way first, it drains them both. It's equivalent, exactly like taking a metal bar and putting it over the battery in a car, over the negative and positive. Well, what's going to happen? It's going to get hotter and hotter, and the energy, it's stuck. It can't flow. It can't go anywhere. So it's building and building and building until it literally has a violent explosion, and the battery will explode, just like a relationship. So if you constantly connect the male way, and then he only talks to you forehead to forehead, and he never opens up emotionally, you're both going to feel drained. It's like you're draining energy. It's like you're draining the battery. But if you do it the right brain way, the female way, the energy flows and it builds up excess energy for the children. Interesting, huh? This is the spiritual way. This is the way that God designed it. This is why some people in relationships just always seem to have this flowing, natural, healthy energy, and they always feel alive. They feel like they have energy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Crack the Female Code. This is what my course is all about. Emotionally fulfilling and meaningful communication, right brain emotional connection. It's about learning how to tune in and be emotionally grounded and watch your energy flow. And guess what? Crack the Female Code is the core of all of my teachings that I have given to you and taught you over the last 5 years about narcissist abuse, because Crack the Female Code cracks the code to understanding narcissist abuse and learning how to see it. Your relationships were always meant to be this way, this natural, flowing, abundance, literally overly flowing abundance of energy for all. Your friendships should be like this. Your relationships, your marriage, your family, your business. This is the energy you should walk away from when you're with someone who's a healthy, good person. And the reason why narcissists don't do it is because they can't. They can't, for some reason, they don't have access to the right brain. They don't open up. Therefore, it's like draining the battery constantly. If you've been with a narcissist, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You just feel drained every time you talk to them. Life can be better, but you have to learn how. This is where the human race is going right now. So let's take a look at this. You're either open to the big picture or you are stuck at the tip inside the V. And this is what makes you literally feel, oh, Mike, I feel so stuck. The minute someone says that, I can hear it in their voice. I feel stuck. And it's because their forehead's tight. All we have to do is reverse this. As Jesus said, get behind thee, Satan. We reverse this V and we get you to the open end. Now this next image right here, in my manual, internal and external energy. This right here is the entirety of my entire course. The image that you saw just before this, it's the same thing, the internal energy versus the external energy. The internal energy is the open system, the external is the closed system. This is the same thing with electricity. You either have an open flowing system or you have a closed system. Your left brain is the external energy, which is the closed brain. It's inside the box brain. When people say think outside of the box, they literally mean open up to your right brain, because the right brain is the open brain. God bless you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this video might have opened your eyes just a little bit more. Alright, that's it. I do want to say thank you to Diane. She gave a $25 donation. I want to thank all of you guys for helping with Sheena. I really appreciate that. That really made a huge difference in a young lady's life. If you guys like this video, please click subscribe, click the like button, and if you want, you can go ahead and make a donation to this channel. There's a PayPal link right there in the description box. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.